Welcome to Euthenia Travels, your gateway to eye-opening journeys and cultural explorations. Today, we're diving deep into the heart of South Africa, a land of breathtaking beauty, complex history, and startling contrasts. Before we embark on this illuminating journey, take a moment to subscribe to our channel. By hitting that subscribe button, you'll ensure you never miss our latest adventures and insights from around the globe. In this documentary, we'll uncover some shocking aspects of South Africa that may challenge your preconceptions and deepen your understanding of this fascinating nation. From its turbulent past to its vibrant present, from its stunning landscapes to its pressing social issues, we'll explore the many facets that make South Africa a country like no other. So sit back, open your mind, and prepare to be amazed, moved, and perhaps even unsettled as we reveal the hidden truths and startling realities of South Africa. The lingering impact of apartheid. As we begin our journey through South Africa's shocking realities, we must first confront the long shadow cast by its apartheid past. While the official system of racial segregation ended in 1994, its effects continue to shape the nation in profound and often disturbing ways. Apartheid, meaning apartness in Afrikaans, was a system of institutionalized racial segregation and discrimination that existed in South Africa from 1948 to 1994. Under this regime, the white minority government classified the population into four racial groups: white, black, colored, and Indian. This classification dictated every aspect of people's lives, from where they could live and work to whom they could marry. However, the deep-seated inequalities created by decades of systematic oppression don't disappear overnight. Today, nearly 3 decades after the end of apartheid, its legacy is still evident in various aspects of South African society. One of the most visible remnants of apartheid is the spatial segregation in cities and towns. During apartheid, non-white populations were forcibly relocated to areas on the outskirts of urban centers, often in underdeveloped townships with poor infrastructure. These patterns of settlement largely persist today. Drive through any major South African city, and you'll see stark contrasts between affluent, predominantly white neighborhoods and crowded, under-resourced townships where most black South Africans still live. This spatial divide is more than just a matter of geography, it perpetuates economic inequality. Many black South Africans still face long, expensive commutes to work, limiting job opportunities and economic mobility. The townships often lack adequate public services, quality schools, and economic opportunities, creating a cycle of poverty that's difficult to break. Education is another area where the impact of apartheid lingers. During apartheid, the Bantu Education Act of 1953 created a separate, inferior education system for non-white students. While this system has been dismantled, its effects persist. Many schools in historically disadvantaged areas still struggle with overcrowding, lack of resources, and poor infrastructure. This educational inequality contributes to ongoing disparities in employment and income. The economic legacy of apartheid is perhaps its most enduring impact. Decades of discriminatory policies left the majority of the population with limited access to education, job opportunities, and wealth accumulation. While there's been progress, including the emergence of a black middle class and policies like Black Economic Empowerment, BEE, the overall picture remains stark. According to the World Bank, South Africa remains one of the most unequal countries in the world, with the top 1% of South Africans owning 70.9% of the nation's wealth. Another shocking aspect is the persistence of racial tensions and stereotypes. While overt racism is now illegal and socially unacceptable, subtle forms of discrimination and racial stereotyping continue to affect daily interactions and opportunities. This is evident in everything from hiring practices to social dynamics. The psychological impact of apartheid also can't be underestimated. Generations of South Africans grew up in a system that systematically devalued and dehumanized the majority of the population. This has left deep psychological scars that continue to affect self-perception, interracial relationships, and national identity. However, it's crucial to note that South Africa has made significant strides in addressing its apartheid past. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission, established in 1996, was a groundbreaking effort to confront the atrocities of apartheid and promote national healing. The country's constitution is one of the most progressive in the world, enshrining principles of equality and human rights. Moreover, South Africa's struggle against apartheid and its peaceful transition to democracy have made it a symbol of hope and reconciliation worldwide. The country has produced inspiring leaders and thinkers who continue to work towards a more equitable society. As we delve deeper into the realities of modern South Africa, it's essential to understand this historical context. The legacy of apartheid underlies many of the challenges we'll explore, from economic inequality to crime rates to environmental issues. Yet it also informs the resilience, creativity, and determination that characterize so much of South African society. Extreme wealth inequality. As we delve deeper into the shocking realities of South Africa, we encounter a stark and disturbing truth: the country is one of the most economically unequal in the world. While the end of apartheid brought political equality, economic disparity has persisted and, in some ways, even worsened. To truly grasp the magnitude of this inequality, let's look at some startling statistics. According to the World Bank, South Africa's Gini coefficient, a measure of income inequality where 0 represents perfect equality and 1 represents perfect inequality, stands at 0.63. This makes it the most unequal country in the world among those with comparable data. But what does this mean in real terms? Picture this: the richest 10% of South Africans hold around 71% of the country's wealth, while the bottom 60% hold just 7%. This concentration of wealth at the top is so extreme that some economists describe South Africa as having a dual economy, a small, highly developed formal sector existing alongside a large, underdeveloped informal sector. Walking through the streets of Johannesburg or Cape Town, you'll encounter this inequality in vivid, jarring contrasts. Luxury cars navigate potholed roads, past informal settlements. High-rise office buildings and gated communities cast shadows over sprawling townships. In the wealthy suburb of Sandton, often called Africa's richest square mile, you'll find gleaming shopping malls and 5-star hotels. Just a short drive away, in Alexander Township, residents struggle with overcrowding, poor sanitation, and limited access to basic services. This wealth gap isn't just about material possessions. It manifests in every aspect of life, from health and education to life expectancy. In affluent areas, private hospitals offer world-class medical care, while public hospitals in poorer areas often struggle with shortages of staff and supplies. Children in wealthy families attend well-resourced private schools, while many public schools in disadvantaged areas lack basics like textbooks and functioning toilets. The causes of this extreme inequality are complex, rooted in the country's history but perpetuated by contemporary factors. The apartheid system created a racially skewed distribution of wealth that has proven difficult to reverse. But it's not just a matter of race anymore. While racial inequality remains a significant issue, class divisions have become increasingly prominent. One factor contributing to ongoing inequality is the structure of the South African economy. The country has a skills-intensive economy, but the education system struggles to produce enough skilled workers. This creates a situation where skilled workers command high wages, while a large pool of unskilled workers face unemployment or low-wage jobs. Unemployment is a critical issue exacerbating inequality. South Africa's unemployment rate stands at around 32%, one of the highest in the world. For young people, the situation is even more dire, with youth unemployment exceeding 60%. This high unemployment contributes to a cycle of poverty that's difficult to break. The government has implemented various policies to address inequality, including social grants, affirmative action programs, and initiatives like the Black Economic Empowerment (BE) policy. While these have had some positive impacts, critics argue they've mainly benefited a small black elite without significantly improving the lives of the majority. Corruption and mismanagement of public resources have also played a role in perpetuating inequality. Funds meant for poverty alleviation and public services have often been misappropriated, limiting the effectiveness of government efforts to reduce the wealth gap. The COVID-19 pandemic has further exposed and exacerbated these inequalities. While wealthy South Africans could work from home and access private healthcare, many poor citizens lost their jobs and faced increased health risks. However, it's important to note that South Africa is not ignoring this issue. There's ongoing debate and various initiatives aimed at addressing inequality. Proposals range from wealth taxes and land reform to improving education and promoting entrepreneurship. The challenge lies in finding effective solutions that can make a real difference without destabilizing the economy. The extreme wealth inequality in South Africa is more than just an economic issue, it's a social and political powder keg. It fuels social tensions, contributes to high crime rates, and poses a significant challenge to the country's young democracy. As we continue our exploration of South Africa's shocking realities, we'll see how this economic divide intersects with and exacerbates many of the other challenges facing the nation. Diverse ecosystems and unique wildlife. As we shift our focus from the human-made challenges facing South Africa, we encounter a realm where the country truly shines on the world stage, its incredibly diverse ecosystems and unique wildlife. South Africa's natural heritage is not just beautiful, it's truly shocking in its variety, rarity, and in some cases, its precariousness. South Africa is one of only 17 countries in the world classified as megadiverse. This means it's home to a significant percentage of Earth's plant and animal species, many of which are found nowhere else on the planet. To put this in perspective, while South Africa makes up only about 2% of the world's land surface, it contains 10% of all known plant species and 7% of all reptile, bird, and mammal species. Let's start with the famous Big Five: lion, leopard, rhinoceros, elephant, and Cape buffalo. South Africa is one of the few places on Earth where you can see all of these iconic animals in their natural habitat. But what's truly shocking is how close you can get to these magnificent creatures. In parks like Kruger National Park, it's not uncommon for elephants to walk right past your vehicle, or to witness a pride of lions lounging mere meters away. But South Africa's wildlife goes far beyond the Big Five. The country is home to some truly unique and sometimes bizarre creatures. Take the aardvark, for instance. This pig-sized, long-snout mammal looks like it was assembled from spare parts. It has rabbit-like ears, a kangaroo's tail, and pig-like body. It's rarely seen, being nocturnal and shy, which makes spotting one a thrilling event for even seasoned wildlife enthusiasts. Then there's the pangolin, often described as a walking pinecone. This scaly anteater is one of the most trafficked animals in the world, making it critically endangered. South Africa is home to the ground pangolin, and seeing one in the wild is an incredibly rare and special experience. Moving from land to sea, South Africa's oceans are equally diverse and fascinating. The annual sardine run along the east coast is one of the largest animal migrations on Earth. Billions of sardines move northward, followed by a feeding frenzy of predators including sharks, dolphins, and seabirds. It's a spectacle that has to be seen to be believed. Speaking of sharks, South Africa is one of the best places in the world to see great white sharks. The waters around Gansbaai are known as Shark Alley due to the high concentration of these apex predators. For the adventurous, cage diving with great whites is an adrenaline-pumping experience that brings you face to face with one of nature's most formidable hunters. But it's not just the animals that make South Africa's ecosystems shocking in their diversity. The country is home to an entire floral kingdom found nowhere else on Earth, the Cape Floral Kingdom. Despite being the smallest of the world's 6 floral kingdoms, it's home to over 9,000 plant species, 69% of which are found nowhere else on the planet. The iconic fynbos vegetation, with its proteas, ericas, and restios, creates a landscape that looks almost alien in its uniqueness. Another ecosystem that will leave visitors in awe is the Namakwa region in the Northern Cape. For most of the year, it's a seemingly barren semi-desert. But for a brief period in spring, it explodes into a riot of color as millions of wildflowers bloom, creating a floral spectacle visible from space. However, this incredible biodiversity faces significant threats. Habitat loss, climate change, poaching, and invasive species all pose serious challenges. The plight of the rhinoceros is particularly shocking. South Africa is home to about 80% of the world's rhinos, but poaching has reached crisis levels. In 2014, a record 1,215 rhinos were illegally killed in South Africa, that's one every 8 hours. Climate change is another major threat. The unique fynbos ecosystem is particularly vulnerable to changes in temperature and rainfall patterns. Scientists predict that by 2050, up to 30% of fynbos species could be extinct due to climate change. Yet amidst these challenges, there are glimmers of hope. South Africa has a strong tradition of conservation, dating back to the establishment of Kruger National Park in 1898. Today, about 6% of the country's land area is under formal protection. Innovative conservation initiatives are making a difference. For example, the Black Rhino Range Expansion Project has successfully created new populations of black rhinos by moving them to previously uninhabited areas. Community-based conservation projects are also showing promise. These initiatives aim to make conservation economically beneficial for local communities, thereby reducing conflicts between humans and wildlife. The success of these projects demonstrates that conservation and human development can go hand in hand. South Africa's ecosystems and wildlife are not just a source of national pride, they're a global treasure. The shocking diversity of life, from the smallest fynbos flower to the largest African elephant, reminds us of the incredible richness of our planet's biodiversity. It also underscores the urgent need for conservation efforts to protect these irreplaceable natural wonders for future generations. Cultural and linguistic diversity. As we delve deeper into the complexities of South Africa, we encounter a facet of the nation that is both enriching and challenging: its remarkable cultural and linguistic diversity. Often referred to as the Rainbow Nation, a term coined by Archbishop Desmond Tutu, South Africa's cultural landscape is a vibrant mosaic that can be both inspiring and, at times, bewildering. Let's start with a shocking statistic: South Africa has 11 official languages. This alone sets it apart from most countries in the world. These languages are Afrikaans, English, Ndebele, Northern Sotho, Swazi, Tsonga, Tswana, Venda, Xhosa, and Zulu. But even this impressive list doesn't capture the full linguistic diversity of the country. There are also several unofficial languages, including indigenous Khoisan languages, South African Sign Language, and community languages such as Finagalo, a pidgin used in the mining industry. To put this in perspective, imagine turning on the national news and hearing reports in 11 different languages. Or picture a parliament where members can address the House in any of these 11 languages. This linguistic diversity presents unique challenges in education, governance, and daily communication. But language is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to South Africa's cultural diversity. The country is home to numerous ethnic groups, each with its own traditions, customs, and historical narratives. The largest groups include the Zulu, Xhosa, Basotho, South Sotho, Bapedi, North Sotho, Venda, Tswana, Tsonga, Swazi, and Ndebele, all of Bantu origin. Then there are the Khoisan, the original inhabitants of the region. Add to this the descendants of European colonists, primarily Dutch, German, French, and British, as well as Indian and Southeast Asian communities brought during the colonial period, and you have a demographic tapestry of astounding complexity. This diversity manifests in myriad ways. Walk through a South African city, and you might hear a dozen languages spoken on a single street. You could pass a Zulu wedding ceremony, a mosque, a Dutch Reformed church, and a Hindu temple all within a few blocks. The country's cuisine reflects this mix, from bobo thai, a Cape Malay dish, to bunny chow, an Indian-influenced fast food from Durban, to boerewors, an Afrikaner sausage. One of the most visually striking expressions of this cultural diversity is in traditional dress. During cultural celebrations, you might see Zulu warriors in full ceremonial attire, complete with elaborate beadwork and animal skins, alongside Afrikaners in Voortrekker outfits, Indian women in colorful saris, and Xhosa initiates painted with white clay. However, this diversity, while enriching, also presents significant challenges. The legacy of apartheid, which enforced separation along racial lines, still impacts intercultural relations. While the Rainbow Nation ideal promotes unity and diversity, the reality is often more complex. Cultural and linguistic differences can sometimes lead to misunderstandings, tensions, and even conflict. Language, in particular, remains a contentious issue. While English serves as a lingua franca in many contexts, there are ongoing debates about language policies in education and government. Some argue for mother tongue education, while others push for English as the primary medium of instruction to promote national unity and global competitiveness. The challenge of balancing cultural preservation with national unity is ongoing. How does a nation with such diverse cultural heritages forge a common identity? This question is at the heart of many political and social debates in South Africa. Yet, amid these challenges, South Africa's cultural diversity is also a source of great strength and creativity. It has given rise to unique cultural fusions in music, art, and literature. Think of the distinctive sounds of Ladysmith Black Mambazo, blending Zulu isicathemia and Christian gospel music. Or consider the works of artists like William Kentridge, whose art often grapples with the complexities of South African identity. The country's ability to navigate its diversity was perhaps best exemplified during the 1995 Rugby World Cup. Rugby, traditionally associated with the white Afrikaner community, became a symbol of national unity when Nelson Mandela donned the Springbok jersey to support the national team. This moment, immortalized in the film Invictus, showed the potential for sport and shared national pride to bridge cultural divides. South Africa's cultural diversity also positions it uniquely on the global stage. With its mix of African, European, and Asian influences, the country often serves as a cultural bridge, able to connect with a wide range of global partners. As we conclude this section, it's clear that South Africa's cultural and linguistic diversity is both a blessing and a challenge. It's a source of richness and creativity, but also of complexity and occasional tension. Managing this diversity, celebrating its strengths while addressing its challenges, remains one of the key tasks facing South African society. Xenophobia and immigration issues. As we continue our exploration of South Africa's complex realities, we encounter a deeply troubling aspect of the nation's social fabric, the persistent problem of xenophobia and the challenges surrounding immigration. This issue not only contradicts South Africa's image as a rainbow nation but also presents a shocking contrast to the country's history of struggle against discrimination. South Africa, with its relatively strong economy and stable political system, has long been a destination for migrants from other African countries. Many come seeking economic opportunities, while others are refugees fleeing conflict or persecution. According to the United Nations, as of 2020, South Africa hosted around 4.2 million international migrants, constituting about 7% of the country's population. However, the influx of foreign nationals has often been met with hostility and violence from some sectors of South African society. This xenophobia has manifested in shocking ways, most notably in a series of violent outbursts against foreign nationals. The government's response to xenophobia has been mixed. While officials consistently condemn xenophobic violence, critics argue that concrete action to address the root causes has been lacking. Some even accuse certain politicians of tacitly encouraging anti-immigrant sentiment through their rhetoric. The issue is further complicated by challenges in South Africa's immigration system. The Department of Home Affairs, responsible for immigration, has been plagued by inefficiencies and allegations of corruption. This has led to a large population of undocumented migrants, fueling perceptions of uncontrolled immigration. Refugee rights are another area of concern. Despite having progressive refugee laws on paper, implementation often falls short. Many asylum seekers face long wait times for their applications to be processed, during which they live in legal limbo. The xenophobia issue intersects with other challenges we've discussed, particularly inequality and crime. Foreign nationals, especially those from other African countries, often find themselves at the bottom of the economic ladder, vulnerable to exploitation and crime. When crimes are committed by foreign nationals, it's often sensationalized in the media, reinforcing negative stereotypes. However, it's crucial to note that many South Africans strongly oppose xenophobia. Civil society organizations, religious groups, and ordinary citizens have spoken out against anti-immigrant violence and worked to promote integration and understanding. Some initiatives aim to challenge xenophobic attitudes through education and cultural exchange. For instance, the Singabalafa, We Belong Here campaign uses art and storytelling to promote empathy and understanding between South Africans and immigrants. water scarcity, and environmental challenges. As we turn our attention to South Africa's natural resources, we encounter a paradox that's both shocking and deeply concerning. A country renowned for its diverse ecosystems is grappling with severe water scarcity and a host of environmental challenges that threaten its future. South Africa is classified as a water-scarce country, a fact that might surprise visitors who see its lush game reserves or cascading waterfalls. The reality is that South Africa receives an average annual rainfall of 464 millimeters, well below the global average of 860 millimeters. This scarcity is compounded by the country's high evaporation rates due to its warm climate. The water crisis came into sharp focus during Cape Town's Day Zero scare in 2018. The city of 4 million people was on the brink of running out of water, with dam levels dropping to critically low levels. While Day Zero was ultimately averted through drastic water conservation measures, it served as a wake-up call to the nation and the world about the fragility of water resources in the face of climate change and poor management. But Cape Town's crisis is just the tip of the iceberg. Many rural areas and townships across South Africa face chronic water shortages. In some places, residents must walk long distances to collect water from communal taps or rely on intermittent water truck deliveries. This not only affects daily life, but also has serious implications for sanitation and public health. The causes of South Africa's water challenges are multifaceted. Climate change is leading to more frequent and severe droughts. Rapid urbanization and population growth are straining existing water infrastructure. But perhaps most shockingly, it's estimated that nearly 40% of South Africa's water is lost due to leaking pipes, theft, and mismanagement. Adding to these challenges is the issue of water pollution. Many of South Africa's rivers and water sources are contaminated with industrial waste, agricultural runoff, and untreated sewage. The Vaal River, which supplies water to about 45% of the country's population, has been described as an open sewer in some parts due to the collapse of water treatment plants. Acid mine drainage from abandoned mines poses another significant threat. This highly acidic water, laden with toxic heavy metals, seeps into groundwater and rivers, poisoning ecosystems and rendering water sources unusable without expensive treatment. The water crisis intersects with many of South Africa's other challenges. It exacerbates inequality, as poor communities are often the hardest hit by water shortages. It threatens food security, as agriculture consumes about 60% of the country's water. And it poses risks to economic growth, particularly in water-intensive industries like mining. But water scarcity is just one of the environmental challenges facing South Africa. The country is also grappling with technological advancements and innovation. As we near the end of our journey through South Africa's shocking realities, we turn to a more optimistic aspect of the nation, its impressive strides in technology and innovation. Despite the many challenges we've explored, South Africa is emerging as a hub of technological advancement on the African continent, offering solutions that not only address local issues but also have global potential. One of the most striking examples of South African innovation is in the field of financial technology, or fintech. The country has become a leader in mobile banking and digital payment systems, largely out of necessity. With a significant portion of the population unbanked or underbanked, innovative solutions were needed to provide financial services. Yet, we've also witnessed the nation's capacity for innovation and progress, particularly in the realm of technology. This spirit of innovation, coupled with the country's natural resources and the resilience of its people, offers hope for the future. South Africa's story is one of contrasts, between great wealth and deep poverty, between natural beauty and urban challenges, between a painful past and a potential-filled future. It's a nation that continues to grapple with the legacy of its history while striving to forge a new path forward. As we sign off, we're reminded that South Africa's journey is far from over. The challenges are significant, but so too are the opportunities. The nation's ability to confront its issues honestly, to harness its diversity as a strength, and to continue innovating in the face of adversity will shape its path forward. Thank you for joining us on Euthenia Travels for this exploration of South Africa's shocking realities. We hope this documentary has provided you with a deeper understanding of this complex and fascinating country. Remember to subscribe to our channel for more eye-opening journeys around the world. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of your understanding.